Hello everyone and welcome back. I am out with some more information about the MMO that I'm making. Today I want to kind of cover the overall mechanics and the dungeons and how it's going to work in my world. So, specifically, I'm going to be covering skill trees, classes, the magic system, and as I mentioned, the dungeons and the raids and how those would work. Not necessarily going through the dungeons and raids, but how common they are, and a couple of unique mechanics that I came up with for these things. Before I begin, I just want to let you guys know, I'm sorry if I sound boring in this video. Recording this late at night before I go to bed. Yeah. Trying to pump up the videos as much as I can, so. I don't want this intro to be too long. I want to dive right into it, so yeah, let's dive right back in. So while this MMO will have classes, it's also going to have skill trees, and I'm going to explain how they work together once I go over the skill trees. As you use certain skills and certain magic, you'll start leveling up in that tree. And as you reach certain levels of that tree, you'll unlock certain tiers of skills and spells. As you attain skill and spell points via leveling up your character, or via clearing specific quests throughout the main campaign, throughout side quests, and that kind of stuff, you will be able to unlock different skills and spells of your choosing. So players are able to be very diverse in what they are capable of in this MMORPG, and there will be different paths you can take. There will also be 3 sub-trees, or branches if you will, that players can take. So for example, with fire spells, you have Flame, Magma, and Spirit as sub-branches of the tree. Currently, the skill trees and spell trees that I have written down so far are light weapons, with daggers, swords, and hand axes being their subcategories. Heavy weapons, great swords, great axes, and warhammers being its subcategories. Long weapons, staves, polearms, corded weapons are their subcategories. Ranged weapons, which includes bows, crossbows, and guns as subcategories. Martial arts, which right now it just consists of kung fu, boxing, and karate. I want to tweak a little bit, but those are placeholders right now. Light armor, which consists of robes, armors, and shields. Heavy armor, which consists of armor, bulwark armor, and tower shields. Acrobatics, which consists of parkour, dodging, and momentum. Enhancement, which consists of body, mind, and spirit as subcategories. Leadership, which consists of command, rallying, and control as categories. Crafting, which basically there's right now the only subcategories I have are gatherer and craftsman. I want to add a third one, but basically these are supposed to affect all crafting profession skills. Stealth, which its categories are sneaking, assassination, and trapping. Perception, which consists of awareness, investigation, and analysis. Magic, or magic control if you will, which essentially covers all magic fields. Includes power, control, and resistance as its subcategories. Fire magic, as we mentioned before, consists of flame, magma, and spirit fire as its subcategories. Water magic consists of torrent, vapor, and spirit water. Frost magic consists of ice, permafrost, and spirit frost. Earth magic consists of stone, plants, and spirit stone. Wind magic consists of wind, storm, and spirit wind. Lightning magic consists of electric, plasma, and spirit lightning. Light magic consists of radiance, sanctification, and righteous fury. Void magic consists of abyssal, corruption, and necromancy. I'd like to remind everyone who's watching this, in case there's anything you disagree with or anything that makes you nervous or anything like that, this is all base outlines of ideas. This is early concept. It is not set in stone. As soon as I get to discussing with other people, I hope to refine and reshape everything before actually writing down all the detailed mechanics. Now for classes. As mentioned, they still work alongside the skill sets. They still provide things. And what they do, essentially, is provide boons and boosts and unlock things for skill trees. One example is this. Every skill tree has 3 tiers. The 3rd tier, the highest and most powerful, can only be unlocked by having a class that unlocks it. The warrior class is going to unlock the highest tier of all weapon skill trees. Additionally, any skill tree that the class gives a boon to will be increased in overall power, how fast you can level up in it, and cheapen the cost of skill and spell points. Each class also comes with a subclass. Choosing this subclass will give you a few abilities. It will make specific sub-trees of the trees that they have boons in even more powerful. Having a subclass will also add more chains to your skills in its specialty. Currently, the list of classes and their subclasses is Warrior with Berserker, Weapon Master, and Warlord, Monk with Martial Master, Key Warrior, and Channeler, Elementalist or Mage, haven't decided which name, consisting of Lightcaster, Archmage, and Purist, Ranger, which consists of Marksman, Beastmaster, and Trapmaster, Rogue, which consists of Assassin, Trickster, and Shadow Walker, Engineer, which consists of Demolitions, Rune Master, and Bulwark, Voidcaster, which consists of Necromancer, Warlock, and Corruption, Paladin, which consists of Crusader, Sentinel, and Holy Knight, the Knight class, which consists of Vanguard, Dragon Knight, and Gate Knight, Druid, which consists of Wildkin, Stormheart, and Keeper, Priest, which consists of Lightcaster, Battle Priest, and Sanctifier, and then finally the Shaman, which consists of Spiritualist, Totem Sage, and Shadow Shaman. Now note that there are 2 classes, as well as subclasses, that will not be revealed until a specific campaign. More specifically, they'll be revealed in campaign number 3. Once again, a reminder, everything is early in development and is not set in stone. I will cover lore behind these classes in another video. Now, before we continue to the other half of this video, I'd like to give a quick reminder that if you do like the idea of this MMORPG project for Hytale, if you want to follow our story, if you want to learn more about it, or if you want to join our group, please smash the subscribe button and strike the notification bell. It really does help us severely, and I really do want to see this become a thing. Now for the magic system. Magic system is kind of a mess because, if we're being honest, I don't really have much to work off of, given that we don't know much about the system in Hytale yet. However, I will say that it's probably going to involve wands and staves and crystals attached to those, or attached to items and other things like that. Maybe even rune carving. We haven't decided yet. But for the mechanics themselves, it's pretty straightforward for most MMOs. You have mana costs, which is basically how much mana you have in order to cast a spell. If you don't have enough mana, you cannot cast a spell. You have casting times, which is how long it takes to prepare the spell before you can cast it. Most of the spells are not going to be very long. It's going to be decently timed so that it's not spamming spells, but it's also not taking forever or making you too vulnerable for interruption. There are also cooldowns, which means when you cast the magic spell, you have to wait a specific time before you can use that specific spell again. More powerful the spell, the greater the cooldown. Furthermore, there are going to be spell chains. Spell chains and skill chains kind of work the same, and I'll explain them now. Basically, how they work is, if you have, for instance, a tier 2 spell, and it had chain capabilities with other spells of a specific type, you could chain that tier 2 spell over to a tier 1 spell, and you would have a small chance of it automatically being cast when you cast that tier 2 spell at half or even lower a cost for mana and all that kind of stuff, without cooldowns or anything like that. So, for example, if you had like a fireball spell and you launched it and it was chained to firebolt, there'd be a small chance that you could launch 2 firebolts immediately after the fireball. I'm also considering and entertaining the idea of charging up your spells. Basically, the idea is this. You charge up the magic past its casting time in order to build up even more power. The drawback is that not only does it have a longer casting time, it'll have a higher mana cost, it'll have a greater cooldown, and if it's an area of effect or if it's a damage over time, that area of effect and that duration becomes smaller. And then, of course, there's also synergies. So in other words, each element will have a synergy with another element. For instance, fire has synergy with lightning, currently at least. That means that if fire magic is launched in an area where there's already lightning in the area, or if it's launched onto someone who's currently affected by lightning, or if it's launched directly before a lightning effect, then it will essentially boost the lightning power. Every element also has anti-synergy. So for example, fire's anti-synergy is water. I don't want to go too deep into elements, at least not right now, because we don't know too much about the elements in Hytale yet. But currently the list is fire, water, frost, earth, wind, lightning, light, and void. Finally, dungeons and raids. So where and how common? Basically, you'll mostly find dungeons at the end of quest lines, specifically like regional quest lines, faction quest lines, things like that. You'll find a dungeon in every story arc of every campaign, with the exception of one arc which will have a raid instead of a dungeon. A special mechanic that I came up with, which I don't know if anyone else does this, I never actually looked it up, but is basically raid crystals. What raid crystals are is every time you clear a dungeon, you get dungeon crystals, and every time you clear a raid, you get raid crystals. These crystals can be used in two ways. The first one is for drops. For drops, essentially, after you clear a dungeon, you are able to access its drop menu. You can allocate dungeon or raid crystals, respectively, to different drop items to increase their drop chance. This way you're not being punished by having to do the same dungeon or raid thousands of times trying to get a very specific drop, while also not making the drop so common that everyone can get it. To make this a little bit more balanced, there's also the idea that you cannot trade epic or legendary items with other players. That way, players can't dump all their crystals into one or two items and then just farm those items and give them out to whoever wants it or sell them to whoever wants it. Now, the second way you can use them is not for drops, but for players. If the player gets enough raid crystals, not dungeon crystals, but raid crystals, they are able to essentially become a temporary raid boss. Yeah, you heard that. Players can become a temporary field raid boss. The idea is that they get different buffs, different abilities, their gear becomes boosted, their spells become boosted, their stats become boosted, everything becomes boosted. They gain new skills and spells according to what kind of raid boss they're choosing to be. Any player who enters their field, because they will be confined to a field, a specific area, a zone, can choose whether or not they want to fight the player raid boss. If they choose not to, they can move through the field and not receive any damage from the boss at all. Anyone who chooses to accept it will be locked into that area as if it was an actual raid and have to fight the player. If enough player raids are done and the players win or lose, then it essentially summons an NPC field raid boss. So in other words, let's say you're in zone 3 and you have like 5 players who end up doing raid bosses within a specific amount of time. So let's say 72 hours. Well, at that point, after the 5th raid, you will get an alert warning all players that within, let's say, 12 hours or 6 hours, a raid boss is going to appear in a very specific area in that zone. This gives players time to travel to that location, prepare for the boss, and then fight it. And the boss is going to be different based on which world it is, which zone it is, and which campaign you're in right now. Because there are world states, and I'll get to that in another video. But anyways, that's all the time for today. Thank you for watching the video, guys, all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned before, I'm very passionate about this project, and I really do want to see this thing happen. If you guys want to see this happen as well, please spread the word so that more people know about this. And if you know anyone who might be a good modder or artist or modeler, builder, world creator, anything like that. Let them know, and let them know that I'm looking for a team. And if you're willing to join, again, go ahead and join. Otherwise, subscribing, commenting, liking, hitting the notification bell, it always helps. Thank you all so very much. I hope to see you next time.